Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another Premier League preview as Chelsea's misery continues. Yeah, I can't lie. I just said this to Charlie just before we went live. I'm starting to lose the will to care because so many things are annoying me at the moment, and it's not about winning or not winning. It's way deeper than that, right? It's first of all, we're essentially experiencing a repeat of last season, and last season was bad. But imagine I told any of us that at this point in the next season, we'll have less points. Imagine thinking that. It's insane. And then people find all sorts of excuses. We'll get into the thick of that. Like, are excuses valid? Which ones are? Because, a lot of different records that are even worse by Poch than by Potter, whatever else, right? But we still are in a position where we cannot sack the manager. At least I believe that, because we'll just screw ourselves even more. And that is such a terrible position.
Sorry, mate. It's 3-0 to Bournemouth now at Old Trafford. That makes Wednesday even more disgraceful. It's unbelievable.
Bournemouth are 3-0 up at Man United. And mate, we played
so bad.
Teams that turn up at Soccer Aid.
Mate, we were horrendous. Luton gave them a better game at Old Trafford. Honestly, every week that goes by, that result at United and performance will look worse and worse and worse.
And this is what's happening to us at the moment. And that it's so obviously what goes for Man United also goes what goes for us also goes for Man United a little bit. They turn up more against better teams, and they definitely tried harder and were more up for it against us than they would have been against Bournemouth. Although I will say I haven't seen the game, but I mean, look at the scoreline. That kind of is enough proof for that. And we can't really say, oh, that's not a thing, because we do the same thing. So obviously it is a thing, but it's just damning, man. Let's just get straight into it, Charlie. You were up at Old Trafford on Wednesday. Even you, and I know you are a very positive guy. You're very much trying to see positives in things, and you're even you said after that game, even you are starting to lose faith a little bit. But has a little bit of time since that helped you come back round to a little bit more faith, or how do you feel at the moment? Because like you said, we can't we play good football once in a new moon, right? You never know. We could be absolute dog water. We could be great. Most of the time, we're pretty average and can't score. But the problem is, at the beginning of the season, at least we didn't concede that much. Now we concede goals, we concede shots, we concede 48 shots or 46 shots, whatever it was, in 2 games. 12 goals in 4 games conceded. It's a joke. Nothing is working. We can't score, we can't defend, we can't control games, we can't really counterattack. We're better at it than controlling games, but we're still not good at it, are we? I'm losing all sorts of hope, bro. And yes, I know we were great against City and against Arsenal until we bottled it. I get that, but my God, we spent 220 million on a midfield and they're worse than Kovacic and Jorginho. I know that has its reasons, and I'm not saying they are worse players than Kovacic and Jorginho, but factually, it's working not as well. And, mate, tell me, are you still positive in any way? How do you feel at the moment?
It's hard to be positive when you see a performance like that. Not just the result, but the performance to go with it. Do you know what I mean? You're going to lose football matches. We will. Everyone loses matches. It's the manner in which you lose, and to turn up to a Man United team in turmoil, not playing well, haven't arguably not played well in a single game this season, and put in a performance like that was inexcusable. It's difficult right now because you look at it and it's quite a complex situation in terms of. You can't just apportion blame to sort of one party. This runs deeper than just a manager issue. Yes, look, Pochettino has got things wrong. Absolutely. I think Wednesday night he set up totally wrong in terms of the backline. The backline was wrong. I don't ever want to see Levi Cole at left back again. Cucurella should have played at left back, should have played Disasi at right back, left the centre-backs the same as it's been for the last 2 games. I don't agree with rotating centre-backs because you want continuity in that position. You find your partnership and you play it unless injury or cup game or whatever dictates otherwise. Don't fuck about with your centre-back pairing at the back. Don't play right-backs at left-backs and don't play centre-backs at left-back. That doesn't work. So that's clear. I think his in-game management was poor in that United game. I think it's been poor at times this season, as has use of substitutions. But what I would also say is that are we really surprised where we're at? I know we all expect to be doing better, and you could argue that we should have more points on the board and we should be getting better performances out of the players that we've got. But ultimately, a lot of this responsibility has to fall on the ownership and the recruitment side of things and the way that this squad has been assembled. I'm not saying that I hated the recruitment in the summer. I absolutely didn't. I enjoyed it. You know, we've signed some very good players. But the reality is that a lot of these players we've signed aren't good enough to play for Chelsea right now. They could well be in 12, 18 months' time. But right now, they are not good enough to make an impact. And when you look at the makeup of the squad and how we've gone about doing things, normally there's a reason why you've not seen before such a vast turnover of players so quickly. Because normally it will say to you that sort of thing doesn't work. You normally, and this is not just this ownership, this goes back to the previous ownership where we didn't gradually phase out players and bring new players in. We mismanaged the recruitment and the squad really, really poorly. You should have been you sort of phase a couple out, bring a few in. Instead, we've tried to skip the queue. Literally from top to bottom, every single owner, director, playing staff, coaching staff, everyone has been changed in less than 2 years. We've tried to make, wholesale transitional changes in a short space of time, and we wonder why things are going wrong. You just have to look at the makeup of the squad. How many reliable players do we have in our team? Two, maybe. Thiago Silva and Raheem Sterling when he fancies it. In terms of reliable players, no one else is reliable.
The way you just said, if he fancies it, doesn't that in itself make him not reliable?
Exactly. So, how many reliable players do we have? One.
I'm not sure. Did you see that tweet? I think it was yesterday. I think CFC Daily put out a tweet and said, who is the one or the most undroppable player or the first name on the team sheet? And I was like,
it's Gallagher.
We don't have that. You could literally, none of them have been good enough. Even Thiago Silva in the grand scheme of things. And I literally said, it's probably Sanchez because our backup goalkeeper hasn't got a single second of football for us yet. And that tells you everything you need to know, really. But sorry to jump in. I'm not sure if you wanted to say more, but obviously you're right with every word you say. And I was like you, right? I didn't, as individuals, right, in terms of the signings we made as individuals, I didn't have a problem with most of those, right? Obviously we were happy with Enzo. You're happy with, in the grand scheme of things, Jackson. The problem I had with Jackson is as the main striker. If you told me at the time he's going to be the main striker, I'm not happy with that. I'll be honest. Sure, pre-season made us all think he might be amazing, and he might still become amazing, but he's certainly not amazing now. Palmer was a steal, but Palmer happened way too late. Caicedo happened way too late. Essentially, do you know what I mean? Like you say, we've just changed way too much. And of course, yes, you're right in a way. Are we surprised? No, but the fact that we are sometimes very good and sometimes they're bad, sure, youth. But on the one hand, that is valid. On the other hand, I'm like, are we giving that a bit too much?
What I would say to that, though, is
that youth factor.
I agree that you should expect inconsistencies with a young team. Absolutely. But what I'm struggling to get my head around and struggling to come to terms with is why, when we have an off game, not every week, everyone's not going to play well. You're going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 players that don't have a great game. But the others will carry the team through. Whenever we play badly, every single player to a man is utter dog shit. And that cannot happen. That cannot happen where every single player does not play well. And that's why we're not winning many games, because when we are struggling and have a bad game, everyone plays shit. Now, you can go back to Newcastle, to Man United. Despite not playing that well, we are in the game at half-time against Newcastle 1-1. Come out second half, an absolute disgrace. Individual errors, right? All over the shop. United, despite how dog shit you were in that first half, we somehow, by an absolute miracle, got in at 1-1. Didn't deserve it, but we're in that game. We come out second half, there's absolutely nothing. This is what I don't understand, is as why we can't seem to perform in certain games, but then other games we absolutely can perform. It doesn't make sense. Inconsistencies, you're going to get them with a young team, absolutely. But I don't understand where things are going wrong. I think the amount of goals we're letting in run out. Look, to be fair, we're creating a lot of chances, and we're scoring most games now, which wasn't happening last season. I know last season was a low bar, but at least now we're in terms, I'm not saying this is like, oh, let's celebrate this, but we are now creating a lot of chances. You can guarantee every game we're going to create quite a few decent chances and we'll score.
Can I just say one thing on that topic, right? On the whole scoring thing. Because obviously we all knew a few weeks ago, we were like, we're going on this incredibly difficult run now. Let's see how it's going to go. That's why we're creating so much and scoring, because we're playing against teams that allow that. We'll play against United, we'll play against Brighton, we'll play against, Newcastle. But did we really have chances against Newcastle other than Sterling's free kick? Not a lot, right?
No, we didn't, no.
Newcastle is different. City, Spurs, with 9 men. Yeah, we did create and score a lot in those games. But now we're going to Everton. Then we're going to play Sheffield United. Then we're playing Newcastle again. Then Wolves. Then Crystal Palace. I guarantee we're not going to score in all of those games, because now we're coming back to those teams that play a low block. Because I agree with you and I want to take that positive, but I also need to be realistic. 2 months ago, when we played those worst teams, we were not creating enough and not scoring enough. Now we play teams that allow a bit more space. Of course we create. Our players are not all awful. So of course we're going to create chances. We're not absolutely awful at football, but we kind of are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying. And we're probably also going to get a better defensive record soon now, because we're going to play against teams that they themselves focus on defending. Well, that will make us defensively look better again.
Defensively, I am concerned though, because we always said, that defense was what we were like was probably the strongest point in this team.
Even
certainly,
Potter, right?
Certainly last season defensively, we were, despite all the games we lost, we didn't let that many goals in. So we started this season defensively quite well. Last sort of 4 or 5 games, I'm seeing way too many goals being conceded, way too many individual mistakes. And the biggest thing for me is defending from set pieces and crosses into the box is absolutely atrocious and virtually non-existent. In the last 3 games, we've let in 3 goals from people having a free header in the box. Akanji, the header to equalise the Man City game. Lascelles to go 2-1 up for Newcastle, free header in the box. The McTominay winner on Wednesday night, free header in the box. Like, this is why I cut the manager a little bit of slack. He's not blameless at all. He absolutely has to take responsibility and is not doing certain things well enough or correctly. But I also feel from a little bit when on the sidelines you've got your team out there who can't do the basics and just pick a fucking man up and make sure people are marked in the box. Like,
he picks the team.
No, I know he picks a team, but what I'm saying is why as a collective defensive unit are we allowing so many goals to be conceded from crosses? Why? Like, how is that happening? Like,
didn't he say that we trained defending crosses? I'm not sure if it was now after this United game before Everton, or if he meant we trained it before United. I'm not sure.
Defending set pieces and crosses is not a new issue. We struggled a lot under Tuchel. I remember we used to let in a lot of goals from set plays as well. Like, it's not necessarily a new thing, but the concentration's not always there. And what I would also say as well, despite Poch needing to do better, 100%. Like, we've missed the most big chances in the league. We've missed over 30 clear-cut chances or big chances, however the Premier League categorise it and how they categorise those chances. We are top of that table for the most big chances missed. Now, that can't be that. You can't put all that on the manager. I'm not saying even if we score half of those, we're probably in a better position. But
is there a stat how many chances opponents missed? Because United could have scored 12. Okay, maybe not 12, but like 6.
Well, they absolutely could have scored 5. We should have lost that game 5 or 6. But this is a deeper problem than just the manager. It really is.
I agree completely.
Like, do you know what I mean?
How do you change the problem? Do you? I will bring up a couple of things in a second, but do you honestly, heart on heart, believe that time will fix this? Because that's essentially because you're saying the manager doesn't fix it. We can't change the squad again. Let's be real. And the owners aren't going anywhere in the next 10 years. Or, well, by now, thankfully, only 8 years. So we have hope. But the only thing that we have left to put our faith in is time. But will time really fix this? It might do, but it might not. And how long do we give it? Because
you've got to give it more than 15 games.
Right? We were, in a way, defending Potter to a certain point last season as well. Certainly at this point last season, we were still defending him. Well, I know the World Cup was going on, but still, we were still defending him. But at some point, even you and me agreed, he kind of had to go. He had to. But what if we get to that same situation with Poch? Then what do we do? We're not there yet. I think we're at a point where it's still worse for us to sack another manager than it is to keep Poch, if that makes sense. But there comes a point where that might not be the case anymore. And then what do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we can't keep going round in circles, binning off a manager after 15, 16 games and then go again. And then inevitably, when whoever the next person hypothetically would be, in 15, 16 games, the same things are happening and the same problems that were there before are still there. What we're calling for another person to go, and we're just going in a revolving merry-go-round of fucking managers without actually addressing the problems at hand head on. Like people
it's
say,
almost like we should have just kept Potter for another year and then changed manager.
Maybe, or we should have just appointed Pochettino in the first place in September when Tuchel was replaced, because he was. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
was Poch out of a job already?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He was considered, but they didn't go for it in the end. But anyway,
according to one report, Poch wasn't even our first choice this summer. Apparently, we wanted Arne Slot first. So
yeah, maybe. But do you know what I mean? Like, it gets to a point where actually, do you know what? Too many people in this fan base can't accept or are failing to realise this is not the Chelsea of old anymore. That's gone. That's gone. We're in a new Chelsea era. We're trying something different, but I think too many people are struggling to move past the Chelsea of the past.
Don't you think it's the club is at fault for that? Because you still hear that, whether it's through media briefs or club statements or what the manager says, they still keep talking about the aim being Champions League qualification. The owners talk about that this squad is capable of getting 100 points a season. So you're right in what you're saying. But it seems like the owners don't agree with that, and the owners don't see that way. That's where the big issue, in my opinion, really stems from.
That's a bigger issue in itself. Like, if the owners, I mean, we don't know this, but if the owners genuinely think that the squad that they've put together and given Pochettino is good enough to qualify for the Champions League this season, then we've got a massive problem.
100 points, right?
because it absolutely, in my opinion, it absolutely isn't. It simply isn't. When you talk about makeup of squads, right? Normally you got like you're okay to have one or two players younger in experience that you kind of bed in with the more experienced players. But if you just look at
you can even have 5.
No, but if you look at 20. But if you look at our attacking, let's just take the attacking players for an example, right? We have got, all right, Nkunku's not kicked the ball for us yet. We probably count him as an experienced player. So you've got Nkunku and Sterling, right, as 2 experienced players. The rest of your attackers, right, virtually 0 experience. Cole Palmer, Mudryk, Madueke, and that's it, isn't it?
Jackson.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, this is what I mean. So out of sort of 5 or 6 attacking players, you've got 2 that you would say are established professionals, and 4 that have got next to 0 experience.
They've not even played 100 games.
You cannot have your squad makeup like that. It should be the other way around. We should maybe just have a Mudryk and a Madueke as a 2, and then you have 3 other players that are way more experienced.
Let's say Mudryk and Palmer, because
Mudryk and a Palmer, or whatever. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Whatever it might be. Fuck yeah! Now, are you serious?
This is a joke.
This is more and more.
4-0. 4-0. Oh my! This is unbelievable. The only good thing about this is the Mark Goldbridge clips will be funny later. But otherwise, this is terrible. No, it's terrible. It is absolutely terrible. But do you know what I want to add to what you've said? Because obviously you're 100% spot on with the experience problem. But this is why I hate how the fan base, instead of going at the owners, at the sporting directors, or in my opinion, fair enough, the manager also has a difficult, and it's not only the manager's fault, absolutely. But I still think it's more valid to blame someone like Pochettino, who has Premier League experience, who has big club experience, who has also the experience. It's much more reasonable, in my opinion, to blame Poch or to criticize Poch than it is to have a go at Jackson and Mudryk. And because these kids they've not played 100 games of football. They've been thrown into this huge football club that's Chelsea, that perform like we're the literally relegation fodder. Like, Everton will be ahead of us. We're playing them tomorrow. They'd be ahead of us without that 10-point deduction. We'd be behind Everton. And this is why they lost the first 4 games of the season.
This is why I cut some slack with the players, because we shouldn't have put the likes of Jackson, etc., in this position.
Jackson shouldn't have to be our first choice striker.
This is Jackson's 3rd season. This is his 3rd season of senior football, and we've put him in a position where he's leading the line for Chelsea. And do you know what? To get 6 Premier League goals already is not bad. Is not bad, all things considered. But he shouldn't be in this position. And he shouldn't be in this position. But this is what I mean about squad planning and the makeup of the squad. Like what I would say is that the plan is absolutely a good idea. It's a good idea what we've tried to do in terms of the recruitment and the squad building. The execution has been horrendous. I just think we've got it. I just think we've got it totally wrong. We've tried to skip the queue, and we're basically trying to build the top floors of the building without building without the foundations at all. Do you know what I mean?
Real Miz, by the way, I feel like it's not.
No, it's not, mate. I've had this before in my chat as well. It's just someone with his picture. Like, do you know what I mean? We've tried to build the top floors of the building, and we haven't even built the ground floor. That's what it feels like we've tried to do it. Like we've not got anything to build on. Look at every successful team there is, right? And there is a core and a spine of, say, 5 or 6 senior pros who are very good, not just experience but quality as well, right? And then you bed in sort of 4 or 5 youngsters in and around that.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even got fucking 5 senior players in the squad.
Literally.
And we're wondering why we're struggling right now, because you haven't got, as you said, these players haven't even played. Half these guys haven't even played 50 or 60 games of fucking senior football, and then we're sitting here wondering why we're struggling so much, and yet we're chucking them in to the Lions Den to, like, guys, go and try and do something. And then
the weird thing is, we're not even like splitting it up evenly. We're somehow putting all the faith in some of these players and none of the faith in others. Like Madueke is already questioning his future here, and he signed a 7 or 8 year contract.
Well, mate, are we surprised? Are we surprised
No,
that
of course we're not surprised. But why is Sterling like? You saw that. We all saw how awful he was and how he didn't try to win the ball back, press, help out the right back defensively at all. Martin was going to come on.
He stayed on.
He leaves him on the pitch. Why?
Sterling stayed on for a full 90. Like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like,
but with all of that said, and I agree with every word you've said, the problem is that is the situation we are in now, and you can't really change that right now.
No.
You can't really do anything about it. That's the situation we're in. That's kind of like the hand we've been given almost.
Yeah, we can't change it.
Exactly. But would you say that with the situation that we are in, with the hand that we have been given, we couldn't still be doing things better? Because there's been things that have really annoyed me over the last few days, and there was some post-match comments from Poch, and I'm going to bring this up now. There was this comment in the press conference, right? Yesterday. Go to this first. He said, I think we deserve much more from the beginning of the season, but now we have dropped our performance in the last few weeks. I am fair in my assessment. We need to improve. We felt good after Brighton and bad after United. We cannot move from 0 to 100 on strings. But that's my issue. How on earth are you feeling good after that Brighton game? We were lucky to win that game. No, but how can you sit there and tell me you feel good? That's the problem, because you're too happy playing averagely, scraping a win, and you think you're buzzing, you think you're the bollocks. You go to Man United and it takes 30 seconds until they realized, oh shit, we're screwed here. But all of us knew 30 seconds in, oh, this is going to be a long afternoon or a long evening. We knew it. And like, look at all I've written down here. This was just the moment yesterday. I was just a bit annoyed, right? But what is he saying? We deserved more at the beginning of the season. He's putting it out there as if we were purely unlucky. And I just do not accept that he's putting it out there like that. He keeps playing players out of position. Like I wrote down here, we had Chilwell at left wing, Enzo at number 10, Colwell constantly at left back, Cucurella at right back when you didn't need to do that. In certain occasions, obviously, you had to do it, fair enough, but not always. It's a joke. Like I said, you ruin good runs of players. Mudryk starts to look a bit better. All of a sudden, he's benched. Sterling keeps playing no matter what he does. It doesn't matter how shit he is. He keeps staying on the pitch. Nothing changes. He doesn't get them disciplined. Poch has been suspended just like half the team has already. And I just don't understand why he's getting let off this much. Like, this is the next thing for me. And I said this yesterday, put this out on Twitter. This tweet did much more than the rounds than I expected it would do. But I just don't get why he's getting, and like this tweet here says, that's not to say Potter was good enough and that he did have to go in the end. I agree with that, and I still believe that. But what I don't like is people giving Pochettino now more excuses than Potter. Potter had much more valid excuses. First of all, didn't have a preseason. Also, factually, the players and Thomas Tuchel said it was the worst preseason they had ever experienced. So not only didn't he have his own preseason, the squad itself had a bad preseason. Oh, they weren't fit. None of them were fit. They had half a team that wanted to leave, and he didn't have midweek off every week to train and prepare for games. He had midweek games. Potter won at San Siro. At San Siro. What? Pochettino has only won 2 away games this season. 2. And one of them was Burnley, and the other one was a 9-man Tottenham.
And we beat Fulham away as well.
Did we?
Yeah, 2-0.
True. I thought I looked through our games and then I didn't see another way. But okay, 3 away wins then. Doesn't make it much better, right?
No, it doesn't make it much better.
I'm not saying that Potter was great and that Potter should have stayed. I'm not saying any of these things. But Potter had, in my opinion, more excuses than Pochettino does. Because how can we now say, the squad, they're all so young and so difficult. But we all were buzzing and said, all these players we're signing are way better than all the players we sold. So which one is it? It can't be both. Either they are better and then Pochettino is doing a much worse job, or they are worse and then the recruitment was much worse. It can't be. You cannot.
I don't think they're worse players, but I'm not necessarily agreeing that they're better players right now than what we've got rid of.
And yet they cost us £1 billion.
And I think that's the key there. I don't have any doubts in my mind that a lot of these players will prove to be much better than the ones we've got rid of. But the reality is that right now, the players we got rid of and the ones that we've bought in to replace them, they're probably not that much better than what we got rid of at this point in time. They've got the potential and the ceiling to be a lot better, but right now, what really matters, they aren't better than what we got rid of.
Others have instilled in this fan base that Kai Havertz is literally cancer. But are you seriously telling me? I know Jackson has only one goal off what Havertz did last season, but are you seriously telling me that Jackson is better than Havertz? Is that what you're trying to tell me? And that's Havertz out of position, right? And this is what we created. There was plenty of issues with your Pulisic and all sorts of players, but is Madueke better than Pulisic? Is Mudryk now better than Pulisic? No,
probably not. Probably not. And I think that, and this is my point, and this is why, I do have some sympathy with the manager to a degree, because
I have some sympathy with him too.
Because you're almost it's almost hands tied behind the back. Does it excuse not picking the correct lineup? No, it doesn't. Does it excuse poor in-game management? No, it doesn't. But ultimately, and I don't think enough's made of it. And I'm not using it as an excuse per se, but you notice whenever other teams have got loads of injuries, it's always talked about, always Newcastle, Brighton to a degree, Spurs. Seemingly Chelsea have been struggling with injuries all season, and 3 or 4 key players are out every single time, right?
I'll quickly get this tweet up. Pice tweeted it as we were streaming. It's kind of almost a response to what you just said. If only Bournemouth had Nkunku and Lavia, huh? You know what I mean? Yeah. But Bournemouth don't have the squad we have.
They don't.
They still manage to be 3 or 4 up at Man United.
They don't. No, they absolutely don't. But what I'm saying is, can we? And look, this is not an excuse, because what we've got available to us is still more than good enough to have won more games than we have done. But I think it's also fair to say that we haven't been able to play our best 11 once this season, or what people would consider to be our best 11. We've not been able to do it through injuries. We haven't been able to play our best team, in theory, one time this season.
That surely excuse run for Potter last year. No one cared.
But this is the thing, though. I just think people don't know what they want. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think certain fans just don't know what they want. It's perfectly fair to say, I'm not making an excuse for why the performance has been so bad, but what I'm saying is it's perfectly fair to say that 15 games in and you haven't been able to play your best team once is quite a significant mitigating circumstance. It doesn't make up for tactical deficiencies, it doesn't make up for for the whole side playing dog shit for a whole game. But I think it's very fair to say that when you've not been able to use your main attacker once this season, when your captain hasn't even completed 90 minutes this season, when Ben Chilwell, who's supposed to be your first choice left back, has barely played any games in that position. It hasn't.
But again, that's not an excuse, because when he played him left wing.
Yeah, I get that. But what I'm saying is that we've not. I think it's fair to say that injuries have played a massive part for us. It's not the only reason that we've been terrible, but it certainly doesn't help that we've not been able to play our best team once. Right now, mate, we are one Enzo or Caicedo injury/suspension away from having no one in the midfield at the moment. We've got Lavia injured still, Ugochukwu is injured, and that's it. No one else. we're one injury away in midfield or suspension away from not being able to field
You're getting
anyone.
Gallagher at DM again, is what you're getting.
Well, this is my point. You're one injury away from having Conor Gallagher playing in the pivot again. Like I think it's fair. I think it's obviously. I think it's fair to say that, you know, yes, we should be doing much better. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing better. We absolutely, where we are is unacceptable. But I think it's also fair to say that there's only so much of this.
Absolutely.
There's only so much of it you can put on the manager. That for me is the reality. If people are honestly looking at this and think this is solely a manager problem, they just don't get it at all. I'm sorry.
I agree.
It's simple as that.
Bro. I agree. But that still doesn't mean that Poch shouldn't be doing better. And
no, it doesn't mean that.
What annoys me is how he's changing his tone, and why the title and the thumbnail says, "Is Poch turning into Potter?" It's because his words literally are doing that. And that's the damning and depressing thing. He started the season off by saying, "I want to win the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Premier League." Obviously not fully serious. I get that. But he was still giving it the big one as such, right? Like, we're going to try. And he said, "We are at Chelsea. We need to win yesterday and today, not tomorrow." But now it's like, we're in a project. Even if we had all the players fit, it would still be difficult. All of these kind of statements that have completely turned on their head. And of course, I understand, because imagine he would still be talking about winning the Premier League now when we're where we are. Of course, he can't be doing that. But it still shows you, and that's why I wasn't not as harsh on Potter as a lot of other people were, because I'm like, Potter just told us the truth. Potter just told us, well, we are not ready to win these things. Even in reaction to the not given penalty at West Ham, right? In a way, he was right in saying it is what it is. You can't get hung up and then for the next 3 months say, but actually, we should have won at West Ham if we got that penalty. Well, fact of the matter is, the Premier League table shows 0 and not 3 points for that game. So it is what it is. And people hated on him for that. And I mean, Vic put it here in the chat. Let me just find it again. Where was it? Potter wasn't worse than Poch, but he wasn't ready for the challenge when he took the job. This is spot on. But what's more likely? Poch becoming a better manager that understands tactics and doesn't have the same issue at the Spurs and the PSG. And he did have those issues against low block. For both teams, he had those issues. He couldn't handle the big egos at PSG, and he didn't know where to take Spurs from a certain ceiling. And the only reason it worked at Spurs is because they didn't have expectations like we do. Now that with expectations, he doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He doesn't. Like, sometimes we build up well, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we play well, sometimes we don't. And you can't just say, the players are sometimes bad and sometimes. It's not that simple, though, is it? Like, compare these stats, and people were telling me Potter is the worst manager in the world. What is Poch then? Like, yes, I get the squad is in a different state now, and none of them know each other, but at least they all want to be here. And at least we don't have a squad of 40 people. Like, we all saw those quotes by Hakim Ziyech a few weeks ago. We all saw them. And he said, we had basically 3 teams. Even Ziyech said, there's nothing you could do. Like, it's too much. No one is going to handle that. Poch doesn't have that problem. Poch doesn't. Potter did. And yet look at the reaction that Poch is. I know Poch is getting it slowly now, but I still think in comparison to last year, Poch is getting so much protection, and look how much easier Poch has had it. He's had a full preseason. I know he didn't have all the players, but he still had a full preseason. Potter didn't have that. He has a week off between almost every game. Potter didn't have that either. And first and foremost, the most important thing, Potter took over from Thomas Tuchel, who all Chelsea fans love, who won us the Champions League. And we just came from being that Champions League winning team with the same squad, with the same manager. Potter took over from that. Pochettino has the easiest job in the world because he's taking over from Potter and Lampard. It didn't get worse than this. The worst season in history. And Poch is taking over from that, and he's he's making it worse. He's making it worse. We have less points. And I shouldn't say but it is currently worse. We have less points now than we did at this point last season. I know Thomas Tuchel obviously was responsible for some of these points. I am aware. I'm not saying it's only Potter. But fact of the matter is still, Poch has managed to make us worse than we were last season. Again, Charlie, let me ask you the question. If I told you in December last year that next season would be as bad or worse, what would you have thought then? Because last season, all we were telling us, it will get better eventually. But we didn't think in 7 years. We'd thought, we'll get rid of these players that don't want to be here. We'll get rid of Havertz and Mount and Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi and flipping Ruben Loftus-Cheek. We'll get rid of all of them and Kepa, and then everything will be great. Everything will be great. Well, how's that gone for us? Do you know what I mean? And that's just the thing that irks me so hard. Like, I've come to the point, and Charlie, you know me from the chat and from talking to me. I hate 3 at the back. I hate 3 at the back more than I hate Tottenham. And still, I think we probably should be going back to a back 3 now. That's how bad it is.
I just think that covers up like the issues really, rather than addressing them, full on.
I agree, but do I really like? We've played 4-2-3-1 for 4 months now, and it's gotten worse, not better. We looked the best. We looked our best in pre-season, and our worst in our last game. What does that tell you? Like, when you have such a young team, such a new team, surely it should get better, even if it's slowly. But there should be progression. And can you tell me you've seen progression? Name me one player that you think is better now than they were in the summer. One.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. That perhaps look, it's difficult. Like, it is. I don't really know. I don't know what the solution is, but it's to think that getting another manager in and suddenly someone else is gonna
maybe Gallagher, but not. He didn't play the last game, so that was his luck.
I just like, for me, the reason why I cut the manager a lot of more slack than some people are, is because it's not all on him. This is my point. This is my point. Like, people don't understand that things aren't going to change upstairs. But like, if people generally wanted Chelsea to improve, then the changes have to come at the top, and that simply is not going to happen. So getting another manager in the same with the same circumstances, the same squad we've got right now, is not going to do anything. It simply isn't. People might you might get your bounce for you might get 1 or 2 decent results, and then people bury their head in the sand and pretend that all the problems have been solved, when the reality is they absolutely haven't. So look, everything is valid. It's not good enough. Must do better. But at the same time, pretending that someone else coming in is going to solve everything is just naivety. It simply isn't going to. It simply isn't going to happen.
No, and you're spot on with that, and that's the problem. Like, as much as I've just almost had a rant about Poch and whatever, I still am of the opinion we can't sack him, because then what? Who's gonna say yes? People, like you said earlier, fancy to accept we're not the Chelsea of old anymore. Managers don't just turn up. People are talking about Jose Mourinho, and there is the nostalgic and the part that will get the no shit taken. And he was a bit more. I think his time at Roma, as much as it hasn't all been perfect, has improved him at dealing with young players for sure. Even if he's now added a lot of older players to the team anyway, I still think he got better at that. But the fact that we're now thinking about Jose after what he did at Spurs, and it was when you look at what happened at United since Jose left, that makes Jose's time at United look a lot better. But still, look at Jose at Spurs, and people are thinking that is better than what we have now, and that shows you everything you need to know. Because who's going to take us? Xabi Alonso will tell us to fuck off.
Mate,
Arne Slot already told us to fuck off in the summer.
This is the funny thing, right? People that say get rid of the manager, and then they give you their alternative, and they say Xabi Alonso, who has done less than a season in pro, he's done 1 season at Leverkusen or less even, or whatever. And people think that the answer to this is to bring in a totally inexperienced manager to deal with a squad full of totally inexperienced players. People just don't think. Like, when is
the only thing I will say is Leverkusen in this with who they are, they have certain similarities to us. Like, not in terms of that they have won what we have won or whatever else, but they are a reasonably big club that have expectations that they wouldn't accept being 10th all season either. That's why they sacked. I forgot who the manager before was. Was it Bosch? I can't remember now. Who obviously Xabi Alonso took over from last year. But he's doing things in a space of 1 year that we haven't seen any of our managers be able to achieve. That's why people talk about Xabi Alonso, because you're like, well, we looked at Potter and he couldn't do anything in the space of 6-7 months. We look at Poch and he couldn't really do anything in the space of 4 or 5 months. When you look at what Leverkusen, what Xabi Alonso did to Leverkusen from the second he took over, essentially, to now, where they're leading the Bundesliga, it's unbelievable. Again,
what I'd say though, if this is a big if we keep changing the manager, right, like as frequently as we have done in the past, Who in that? What top manager in their right mind is going to want to come and manage Chelsea in this current situation? None of them. And then any potential players that we try and recruit in the future, they're going to look at it and think, well, what the fuck would I go there? Other than the fact that I get long-term security from a 7 or 8 year contract, why, with anyone with any footballing sense, why would you come to Chelsea right now? Why? Like you simply wouldn't. You got no idea what the fuck's going to happen then from week to week.
This baffles me, the whole Osimhen stuff. I'm like, why would he come?
Why would he come? Why would he choose us?
Why would Tony choose us over Arsenal? Why would he? If Arsenal obviously pursue it and stuff. But Enoch says here, Chelsea fans are so impatient, things don't change instantly. And that's true. But you should still be able to see a certain amount of progression. And I'm not demanding exponential progression, but I'm asking for a little bit. And I've seen none. We're no better now than we were on day one of the season. And on day one of the season, we didn't even have Palmer and Caicedo yet. And that's the damning fact, unfortunately. And that's what makes me so sad, right? And like when I see these, every time we lose a game, a new rumor comes out about whichever new player we're going to sign.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes it's Osimhen, but this time we got another Brazilian wonder kid, Estevao Willian. I mean, what a name! 16 years old. We're talking 35 million pounds, 34 million pounds, up to 20 plus 20 million euros, 40 million euros for a 16-year-old. Sorry, recruitment team. Sorry, Egbali. Sorry, Bowley, who's not particularly involved anymore. But do you really think that is the solution right now? This is the 5th left-footed right winger we're signing. And they're all in an age gap of 3 years. What are you doing? Like, we might not get him. And he might be the best of all of them. Him and Kendry Payes. Who knows? Maybe he is worth it. Maybe he is. But 90% of the others sadly are not. And like people talk about we've spent $1 billion, and we have. But we've spent like 300 million of that billion on under 18-year-olds. Think about how crazy
players that might not even kick a ball for this club.
Bro, you say might. Definitely. Other than players, right? Yeah. Do you even think, I'm not even sure Angelo Gabriel will ever play for us, and he's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mate, honestly, maybe 1 or 2 of these guys will, but the vast majority of these young players we're signing, they won't kick a fucking ball for us.
Exactly. But like what Ricky says here, with the way things are going, we're not going to flip any of these for profit because we're paying so much for them at this age. But by where the club are going at some point, we won't even be able to loan them out.
Let me tell you right now, right? How many players that we've signed, right, since Bowley's been here? Let's go back to last January and onwards when Enzo etc. arrived. How many players can we actually say? Let's forget this summer because that's irrelevant. But let's say, like, let's just go January, right? How many players can we honestly, hand on heart, say that we signed in January that if we sold them right now, we'd make a profit?
Not a single
zero, not a single one of them. So this is my point, that when you sign these players and you think there's good resale value, they need to play. And we've got too many players. Like, do you honestly think now that if we sold Madueke right now, that we'd get anywhere near the 30+ million we paid for him? We'd be lucky to get 15. Like, this is the reality. This is part of the problem, is when you stockpile multiple young players in multiple positions, they're not all going to play and develop at the same rate. You're not going to get a return on your investment.
They're all the same age.
You're not going to get a return on your investment. Like, no one we've signed is right now, we can say that if you sold them today, you'd make a profit on them. And that in itself is a major problem as well.
Exactly. I mean, and people say, oh, maybe they just know we're going to get a transfer ban for all of the Roman stuff that's coming out. Even that doesn't make sense. Because then you still, first of all, half of these players like I keep forgetting his name. Estevao, sorry. Even Estevao, Kendry Payes, all of these players, when are we getting a transfer ban? And how long are we getting it for? Do you know what I mean? These players wouldn't even be here by the time we have a transfer ban. And even still, they would all be the same age in the same position. What benefit does that bring? None. Zero. It is a joke. It's an absolute joke. Again, I don't want to have a go at Estevao. He might be a superstar and he might actually be great. I looked at the little clip. Of course, it's a compilation, but still, I think he plays for the Palmeiras first team. I'm not.
Yeah, it's not what we need. We don't need. It's not what we need.
And even if we did need it, he wouldn't get the game time anyway.
But why would we sign this 16-year-old? We've already signed Kendry Payes. Why do we need another one?
I think Kendry plays on the other side, but even still, right?
It's not the it's not reading the room very well. It's not reading the room. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, wherever this is coming from, it's just people not reading the room very well at all. The last thing we want to hear about is another.
They're not even just reading the room; they're looking into the room from across the street. They're so far detached from what's actually happening, the reality of things. Like it's beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me. And then I see Poch talking about, we're not going to change who we are. We're not going to change the project. Yeah, fair enough. But how about you change?
Even if we
play Cole with a left back, that would be a change I want to see.
But genuinely, right? Even if Poch wanted to change a project or thinks the project should be changed, mate, we're in way too deep now. We can't change the project. We can't. We simply can't.
Imagine we did get Osimhen now. We're going to pay the guy 300k a week, and everybody else in the squad, other than Reece James and Sterling, are on peanuts in comparison. What are they going to think?
Mate, honestly, we're in too deep now, mate. Ultimately, this is the path we've gone down. We're too far down the path now. This either works or it doesn't, and that's the reality. It's too late to back out now.
Even this, right, turning us into Brighton, mate. I fucking wish we were Brighton. They're in the Europa League. They're top half of the table. I mean, I guess officially we are as well, by still being 10th somehow. But I'm losing all sorts of hope. I mean, just quickly, let's touch on Everton before we speak about our team against Everton. Currently, they sit 17th, but of course, they had a 10-point deduction. So they would be a point ahead of us, which is the insane. Let me refresh this page quickly if the points have changed at all. We are on 19 points, a gap of 5 points to whoever's 9th, which is unbelievable, by the way. We are joined with Brentford, Wolves, and Bournemouth, 1 point ahead of Fulham, 2 points ahead of Palace. Bloody, we're 3 points ahead of Palace. Bloody hell, we are 5 points ahead of Forest. We're as far ahead of Forest as we are behind West Ham United.
Yeah.
Oh my God. West Ham United lost Declan Rice this summer. They lost their best player, and we're still 5 points behind them. Honestly, I'm not sure if you think the same as me, Charlie, but I am fully prepared for an absolute battering tomorrow.
Mate,
because we're not going to score, and then it depends how are we going to defend. I think Everton are going to find ways to score.
Do you know what the problem is, right? Is that you've literally got no idea what Chelsea to expect from week to week on when you get to the game. I honestly, mate, I wouldn't be surprised either. I wouldn't be surprised if we turned up and we won 2 or 3-0. I equally wouldn't be surprised if we turned up and we just got taken apart. Like this is the problem. You've got no idea what you're going to get.
If we won 3-0, that would be more surprising than if Jesus actually turned up at my doorstep.
It would be, but can you really put it out of the equation with how Chelsea are this season from week to week, that the fluctuations between performances? Can we honestly say that it wouldn't be a surprise if we actually turned up and won tomorrow? Like, I'm not saying it will happen.
Winning, okay, but battering them, that would be surprising.
But do you know what I mean? Like, I equally think we could turn up and win, or we could equally turn up and just not be there at all and lose again. Do you know what I mean? Like, there doesn't seem to be any in betweens. It's either we turn up and we play reasonably well and we win, or we don't turn up and everyone to a man is dog shit and we lose.
But are you sure? Because most of the games that we have turned up for, we drew. We don't even win the games we do turn up for usually.
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest, I've got absolutely no idea what to expect. That in itself explains that part of the big issues that we're in. I've got no idea what to expect from this team.
Exactly that. I mean, Vic here says, we're landing Osimhen, Palhinha, and Alphonso Davies or Tar. I don't know why it's one or the other at 27 years. That's a pivot in the project. If that happens, it's a complete change in the project. Think about what you just said, Vic. Osimhen, I would say 120 million upwards. Palhinha, they wanted to charge Bayern nearly 100 million, or was it 80 million, whatever they wanted.
About 80 million euros or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay. So in euros, we're over 200 million already just with those two. Alphonso Davies, sorry, but Vic, I don't want to be rude.
He'll go to Real Madrid.
Who hit you in the head? Why would anyone leave Bayern Munich for us? Look at where we are, man. We are 5 points behind West Ham. Alphonso Davies is laughing in your face if you ask him to go to Chelsea Football Club. Fucking hell. Jonathan Tah, he might win the Bundesliga with Leverkusen. What on earth would he want to be doing at Chelsea? We don't even pay big wages. You can't even say we pay crazy wages. To Man United, they'd go for 300 bags a week like Sancho. Like bloody Igalo did a few years ago. Yeah, there they'd go. But we pay everyone 100k. They get that in the Bundesliga all the same. They don't need to come here for that. This is not realistic. And Again, Osimhen, Palhinha, Alphonso Davies, and let's say Antar, all of those would cost us 350 million.
Well,
How long of a transfer ban do you want us to have?
And another 4 new players to go with all the other fucking new players we've got.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, bro. I mean, Everton are a good team. They had a really, really, really bad start to the season, right? If we go to their fixtures and we go to early in the season, when did it start?
August.
Here. Lost to Fulham, lost to Villa, lost to Wolves. Drew to Sheffield United. Sheffield United are bad. Lost to Arsenal. Okay, that's fair enough. And then they got a bit better. They even lost at home to Luton. At home. But now they sorted themselves out. Look, this is progression. I know Sean Dyche didn't take over in the summer, but they were bad at the beginning, and they started to fix themselves. What are we doing?
I would
day one.
I would agree that our performances have regressed slightly since the beginning of the season. I think that's perfectly reasonable and fair thing to say that. For whatever reason, I don't know what the reasons are, the performances have definitely regressed over the last few weeks. I think Poch even said so himself.
Yeah.
But the more important thing to find out is why that's happened, and like I don't have the answers as to why our performance levels have regressed. I don't have the answer.
Neither do I, bro. Neither do I. And that's the worrying thing. Honestly, I wouldn't be against playing a back 3 tomorrow, but I know you said that's for you just covering over issues rather than continuing our process and project, which is fair enough. So we're going to stick with the formation. This is the other thing, by the way. Where on earth is Nkunku? Where on earth is he? 2 weeks ago, I think Poch told us we're assessing day by day. So what has happened the last 14 days then?
Mate, I think the club have gone well early on this and made it out that Nkunku and Lavia are way closer than they actually are.
Poch said himself, Nkunku told him he wants to play against Newcastle. Newcastle was 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't ready at all.
And mate, he isn't even ready to be on the bench yet.
Mate, I'll be honest. I put a tweet out yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Nkunku or Lavia until like Preston in the FA Cup.
At least first start, that could well be true. Yeah. Maybe they'll make a few sub appearances before, but as a start, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, at the same, why should I be surprised? Nkunku had a really bad injury last season. Let's not forget, missed the World Cup because of it.
Yep.
Had a really bad injury this summer. The man hasn't been at peak fitness in a year and a half. So obviously he's not gonna turn up to training and immediately be ready for the fucking Premier League. And if he was thrown in, well, first of all, he might get injured instantly, but also he would look terrible. I'll tell you that much. He is not ready for the physical demands of the Premier League. And that's why they're not playing him. So at least they're making a right decision in that sense. But why are they, first of all the pressure on Nkunku, but they're trying to bait us, he's nearly back. Again, for 2 weeks, Poch has said we're assessing day by day. What do you mean? Assessing day by day means he's this close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the briefs that are coming out, making out that Nkunku's like sort of the second coming of Messi and everything's going to be fine when he comes back, because it absolutely isn't. This is a guy that's not played for nearly 4 months, not kicked a ball in the Premier League for us, and the noises coming out of the club are like he's going to be some sort of fucking savior. Like it's ridiculous. Like, do I think he'll make a difference? Yeah, of course he'll make a difference. But like the way it's being talked up,
people think he will.
Yeah, but the way it's being talked up is just stupid.
It really is. I mean, Jubril says here, sorry if I said your name wrong. He says, and I think Nkunku wanted to play, but Poch is being cautious because Nkunku isn't going to have the impact like Messi, so he doesn't want to rush him. But then don't say we're assessing day by day. Just say you want to let him train with the team for 3-4 weeks before playing him. That's perfectly fine. Tell us that. All of us will understand that. All of us will accept that, because no one's buying it. You're not scaring opponents. Maybe Nkunku will all of a sudden turn up. You're not scaring any of them. So just tell us the truth if that is your plan. But even then, I don't believe it. I don't think Nkunku wanted to play, but Poch is being cautious. No, if you were being cautious, you don't say day by day. Not for me. By the way, the club is even getting more ridiculous. They took Madueke off the injury list. Sam, the C234, is it? Sam? He said Nkunku isn't, Madueke isn't even out on the pitch training, let alone is he back from injury. We can't even do our own injury reports right anymore. It's a joke.
It's difficult right now. It is.
But do you want to just confirm to me you do want to stick to the same formation?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see another situation. I don't. Yeah, we'll stick with the same.
Fair enough. Then obviously we have Sanchez in goal. Who knows if he's fully fit or not? Petrovic was warming up the majority of the second half at United, which has. I don't think that's a thing if Sanchez doesn't have a small.
It was fucking cold, to be fair, so I'm not surprised.
maybe that's the reason. But there was. I'm not sure if you noticed that in the stadium, but just before halftime, there was a moment where Sanchez collided with an opponent and then did look a bit in pain. But obviously, he still played the rest of the game. But the way he passed, I mean, I would hope he was injured because that would at least explain some of his passing.
Yeah, the passing out from the back was horrendous on Wednesday night. Dreadful. Worst I've seen. It was awful.
There you go. But what about the back four then? I mean, James supposedly
surely James is starting this game.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think there is a chance Reece was being punished and not injured?
No, I don't think so. No, like with a game of that importance, I just personally don't see it.
I would want to agree with you, but then I see Reece play, and I'm not saying he was good. But
he was honestly, he was dreadful.
Yeah, he was absolutely. But he was fit. He was sprinting up the pitch. He was sprinting down the pitch.
Yeah,
he was flying into tackles. He certainly didn't look injured.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of worry about Reece in terms of like managing him properly. I just think if we're being real, could he have played 90 if it was life or death? Yeah, probably he could have started that game. I just think
if he can play 45, start him, and then at halftime see how he's doing. Can he play a bit more?
Yeah, no, I hear it, but yeah, no, I'd be shocked if he doesn't come into the team. Surely, like presuming everything's gone all right, yeah, he will be at right back.
He has to. And at left back, we're both going to say Cucurella, I assume.
But it has to be. I don't want to see the Colwell at left back thing ever again, unless.
But I tell you one thing already. Well, to be honest,
I'm almost certain.
We are going to concede a goal from a cross to the back post, and then we're going to say if only Colwell played left back.
Well, all I'm going to say is, mate, I don't want to see Colwell play left back again. But I think we both know when the team sheet comes out tomorrow, it's going to be Levi Colwell at left back. I think it's so obvious. But for me, like. I don't look. Don't get me wrong. I think Colwell's a very good player. I think he's going to be one of the most exciting centre halves that's coming through at the moment. The guy is not a left back. Every single time we come up against any half competent wingers, he gets found out. He stands off. He doesn't mark what he tries to defend wide spaces like a centre back rather than a full back. Like it doesn't work. It simply does not work. I get it that you might want him for height from set pieces and defending crosses, etc. I get that. But in pure one-on-one defending against tricky wingers, it does not work.
And also, it's forcing Enzo, by the way, to have to defend way more than he should as well. If at least Enzo and Caicedo were swapped, so Caicedo could help. But no, we're playing Enzo on that side. But
for me, mate, it has to be Cucurella.
Yeah, at left back, absolutely, I agree. What about the centre backs? Do you rest Thiago Silva for his age?
But for me, mate, why would you? I get what you're saying. If Silva was going to be rested, I would have said it would have been in that United game because there's a week's rest after this Everton game. Like there's no midweek game next week, so it doesn't really make sense. And do you know what? I think we need an experienced head at the back. So for me, I would leave him in. If he's fit and he's ready to play, I would leave him in. So for me personally, I'd go Silva and I'd bring Badiashile back in. And I know it's another change of centre back or whatever, but I just think that that's for me right now. I think that's our best centre back pairing at this point in time. But having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if Disasi play. I'd really love to know. I don't know why, like the journalists and that have pissed me off a little bit when I just don't ask questions that should be asked. Why? I mean, from what I've seen, why has no one asked why Badiashile was dropped for this game? Like, why? Was there a small knock that we didn't know about or something?
I don't think he was. Well, he was dropped, obviously. But I think the only reason he played the game before is because Disasi had to play right back. And if Disasi didn't play right back the game before, Badiashile wouldn't have played that game.
But then why play him against Newcastle?
Do we have injuries? I can't remember now.
No, we didn't, because the Sassy didn't play against Newcastle. He was on the bench.
True. It's true.
So
See,
this is what I don't understand.
I would want Colwell at centre back, because I think he's the real deal, and I think he's a leader. I think he's young, he's only 20, but I think he has the genetics of a leader. And this is not because he got the captain's armband in the first half against United. It has nothing to do with it. But I think I want Levi Colwell playing. I don't want him playing at left back, but I want him playing. And then for me, I'm kind of deciding, do I play him with Badiashile or do I play him with Silva?
I think we've got to have some form of leadership. So if it's going to be Colwell, I think it's got to be with Silva.
I don't know. It's just because it's Everton. Because of the way that game is going to be with height and long balls, and
then
Silva's game. You know, it's just.
But then, to be fair,
not about reading the game so much. It's about like physical battle after physical battle after physical battle. And I don't know. 39-year-old Silva, the last 2 games, I'd probably play Colwell instead of Thiago. But I hear what you're saying.
To be fair, mate, I think what we'll probably see happen is that Badiashile probably won't play. Yeah. And it will be the same backline that played against United. It will be the Sassy
the same backline that played against United second half. Yeah,
yeah. I think it will be. I think it'll be Colwell left back. It's not what I want, but I think it's fair to say that, you know, with Silva, with like the physicality and the height that Everton possess, like he's probably going to want the Sassy and Colwell on the pitch, and the only way that works is you go Silva, the Sassy, and Colwell left back. That's what it will be. It's not what I want to see, but I think for me, if I had to guess what it would be, that's what it would be.
Yeah, there you go. I agree. I think if we did have to,
for some reason, he seems to really like Levi Colwell at left back, and I just can't put my finger on it. The only thing I can say is he wants more height in the team, which is why he does it. I can't think of an actual footballing reason why you play him there.
If he did that, fair enough, but then build like a back 3 and don't have Colwell consistently be out in the position of a left back. Like if he did it like Ake does for Man City, fair enough. If he did it like Ben White at times does at Arsenal, fair enough. But we're
seeing it with Man City at the moment. Vardiol was signed as an £80 million centre back. He's not played centre back once for City, and he's getting exposed at left back. Like, it's the same with Colwell. Colwell is not a left back. In an emergency needs-must situation, fine. I get it. But not when you've got actual left backs available. Should you be playing a centre-half out of position?
Exactly that. By the way, just quickly, Christian said here, Chilwell is back in training. I know what image probably made you think that, but he's not. He's doing rehabilitation. He's recovering from his injury. Obviously, there's got to be a Cobham training, but that he's not in training. Like Ben Chilwell will not be fit before any point in January, maybe even February. So don't even get hyped. But Chilwell is washed, mate. He's still 3 times better than all the other people that have played left back so far. I will say that. But Chilwell has, like, that's another thing where I'm like, Lewis, I love you, bro, but Ben Chilwell never even made it properly fit after his ACL injury before he got injured again. Like, people don't understand. You come back from an ACL injury and you play, you're not at your best yet. That takes months of playing after your return until you are back to your actual best. Ben Chilwell didn't even make it that far before he got injured again. No one can judge Ben Chilwell for the last year and a half of what he did then, because that wasn't Ben Chilwell being fit. I'm just saying.
Problem is for like, we haven't had James and Chilwell fit together for a run of games since
the Liverpool game when James had to come off.
I mean, an actual run of games, like you'd have to go back to when Tuchel was here, and we went on that run when we were top of the table. Like, there's no, do you know what I mean? There's no fucking, like, we need some consistency. But yeah, I agree. Like that for me, that's what I would go with. I'd go Silva, Badiashile, Cucurella, and James, but it'll be Colwell left back, and it'll be Disasi and Silva, in my opinion.
I agree.
Mate, the pivot picks itself as well. Because
I just quickly want to say I would pick Levi probably instead of Silva, hence why I put it next to it. But yeah, and you can't. Who else are you going to pick?
Mate, there's no
anyone available anyway.
There's no one else to play. There's no one else.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're coming to the difficult question, because obviously, what? Villa already leading.
McGinn scored.
All right, we're going to wrap the stream up soon, and then all of us are going to go watch that game as well. But the big question really now is, Charlie, obviously Gallagher's back. I just want to say this is not what I would pick, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Gallagher's on the bench, because I have a feeling Reece James got punished against United. And if he punished Reece James, he will also punish Gallagher for the stupid yellow card.
Mate,
I hope not, but I think he could be doing that.
I think there's absolutely zero chance, unless Gallagher gets injured in his sleep tonight or on his way to the bus tomorrow, then he came out of the United game like as one that actually, do you know what, we do need him. Like, he didn't even play, and he's like, for me, he has to go straight back in. Like, it's as simple as that. For me, there's no way that you don't play Gallagher in this game. You have to. You look at Everton's midfielder: Nana, Doucouré, Idrissa Gueye, physicality, power. You know, we need that energy and that pressing in there from Gallagher, because otherwise Enzo and Caicedo will get overrun again. And I think that's something I've noticed in big games away from home. I think we could definitely do with an extra body in midfield.
Absolutely. The only thing, the whole problem with Gallagher have is, again, we're not playing United anymore, or City, or 9-man Spurs. We're now back to playing low block tomorrow, and we will do. Everton are 18th on the percentage of possession chart in the Premier League. If you now play Gallagher as a 10, will we sit here after the game tomorrow and say, if only we had a different 10 so we could...
I think it's almost better to go like a 4-3-3. Like Gallagher, not necessarily as a 10, but just like as an advanced...
But what difference does it really make, though?
It probably doesn't make that much difference, but like... I wouldn't have... Yeah, look, it probably doesn't make an awful lot of difference, but just that extra
especially
body
with
in there.
How Caicedo, how bad he is defensively.
Yeah. I mean, look, Gallagher for me comes back in, and then... In my opinion, mate, you obviously, we know Palmer stays in there. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, of course.
And mate, I think that Mudryk has to play.
Yeah, I'm not playing Sterling.
I'm not playing. And do you know what the thing is? We know Sterling's going to play, which is another thing that fucks me off.
Yeah.
Like if Mudryk is going to develop and get better and reach the potential that we want him to reach and believe he can reach, he needs to play consistent amount of games. He has to. There's no point being in 1 week, out the other week. He needs to start this game. Sterling was awful against United, and he should have been subbed off, and he wasn't. Like, it should be Mudryk and Palmer, and then the next change I would make, Jackson, as well as he's done this season, it's time to give Broja a go.
Yeah, and I'll put one out there now. I said this in our group already. If Pochettino starts Jackson tomorrow, I will officially be Pochettino out. I will be, because... Excuse me, both of these are 22 years old. Jackson has done nothing to warrant starting over Broja all of the time. And he's physically not even half of as strong as Broja is, by the way. So against Everton, you better be fucking starting Broja. And I will flip my shit if he doesn't. Flip my shit. I'm ready to flip my shit already, because in my predicted 11, I absolutely believe Jackson will start again, unfortunately. But I will be angry. That's all. Do you think it will be Jackson if you did predict it? It could be Broja, but I think it's more likely to be Jackson.
If I had to bet on it, I'd probably say it would be Jackson, but it should be Broja. And if I was picking the team, it would be Broja.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, watched the video of Broja and Cole earlier, and Broja in that video pronounced his own name Broja. So I need to get used to pronouncing his name differently, because he himself apparently called it Broja. So I need to.
Mate, that just sounds so weird, though, doesn't it? It doesn't sound right, Broja.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Because my girlfriend is obviously half Albanian, right? But even she's like, well, Broja is just not an Albanian name. So she's also unsure how it's supposed to be said. So,
yeah, Broja does sound a bit more like... Yeah,
Armando Broja, it just sounds Spanish.
Yeah, Amanda Broja. Maybe, well, whatever it is.
He sounds like Spanish if you pronounce it Broja, you know?
Yeah, well, whatever it is, he should get an opportunity tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is our team. I would even agree with the 4-3-3 thing. At the same time, I don't think it matters much. I'll be perfectly honest. Palmer on the right wing. I love Palmer. He needs to play. But really, I don't really think he should be on the right wing too much. Now, if James plays and James has the energy to go up and down the pitch all game long, fine. But he doesn't. And also, well, maybe he doesn't have the energy, or Poch doesn't tell him to do that, because he doesn't bomb forward anywhere near as much as he used to do. Again, could be fitness reasons rather than anything else. If this was a thing, then sure. But if Palmer is just going to be out on the wing the whole time, he just doesn't really have the pace. It's the only problem. But hey, I guess Mudryk has all the pace in the world on the other side. Bruja is a witch in Spanish, is it? There you go. The more you know. Thank you
There
for
we
that,
go.
mate. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Jackson's dribbling is bad. I think the problem Jackson has is understanding when to dribble and when to pass.
Yeah.
That's Jackson's main issue, in my opinion.
I would agree.
But anyway, Charlie, let's finish it off. Score prediction. And are you going to be honest, or are you going to go with what you hope for?
Nah, mate. I don't know. I don't think we're going to win. I'll be honest. I don't think we're going to win. But I also feel that we probably won't lose. So I'm going to. It's a bit of a fence sitting this one, but I think it'll be 1-1.
I hear you. Honestly, in this case, my heart says 1-1. That's how bad it's got. That my hopeful prediction is 1-1, because I can't decide if I'm going to say 2-0 or 2-1 Everton, but I think Everton are going to win. Like, we don't win at Goodison at the best of times. There's no chance.
We've lost 4 of our last 5 trips there.
Exactly. And the last time we won there, was that when we won the league with Conte?
No, the last time we won there was first day of last season.
True. When Gallagher
penalty.
Yeah. Or was that against Leicester?
No, it was no. We didn't get anyone sent off. First game of the season last season, we won by a penalty, 1-0.
Yeah, Jorginho penalty.
Yeah,
bottom corner. That was also a dreadful game, but at least we won, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Everton. You're going to say 1-1. Bloody hell! I hope we're wrong. I hope we win. I hope we win 7-0 tomorrow, and I'll be sat here buzzing. But I just don't really see it happening. I'll be bad for the honest. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this one up. All of us are probably going to go watch that rest of that Villa Arsenal game. I assume most of you are already watching it. Thank you guys. If you have tuned in, subscribe if you haven't already. That would be massively appreciated. Hit that like button. On your way out, please check out Charlie's channel, Blue Brother CFC. Link is down in the description. Check him out, subscribe to him. Yeah, that would be massively appreciated. But we'll, of course, be back for a player ratings and live stream following the game tomorrow. But yeah, so tune in for that. Hit the notification bell button. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, Everton onwards, and we'll see you next time.